The whole meeting, I really just struggled to not cry. And after that meeting, I knew that nothing really has improved. And I just cannot go on like that. And it's not by chance that I was accumulating these roles, because as the symptoms started appearing, then my answer to them was, oh, I just take more responsibilities, and that would fix this noise that you start hearing at the beginning of the burnout. But obviously, that's not the right solution or the answer to anything, because you need to have maybe less responsibilities and not reach to a point of 12 roles.
Welcome, everybody. Well, it's good to be back with Making Waves. We had a quite of a stop pause in that segment, but now we are back. A little bit modified version of Making Waves, but this is the series where we focus on people's stories, on quiet leaders who are done performing and ready to lead from the inside out. And we're gonna today go through the story one of one of my clients, wonderful Nana. And Nana is someone who walked away from the life actually that looked perfect on paper and almost gave it all up just before something extraordinary was born. And we're going to talk about it today. Nana's story begins across the continents, from Azerbaijan to Siberia to Israel, shaped by early responsibility, high expectations, and relentless drive to succeed. With 2 degrees in computer science, she carved out a powerful 20-year career in tech, working at companies like SAP, RSA, and startups that scale up to acquisition. But behind that achievement, well, there was a woman who at some point was running on empty. And after years of pushing it through, burned out, unfortunately, Nana left Amsterdam, moved to the old farm, and faced the terrifying silence of what now? Today, Nana is a co-founder of Temboni and host of deep intentional and also international retreats and the Maker's Barn. So let's dive into Nana's journey. Welcome, Nana, in Making Waves.
Thank you. Great to be here. And
Wonderful.
I'm very excited to take part of your Making Waves program after listening to many episodes myself.
Yes,
So
that
yeah,
was the
looking
time that
forward.
we need to have the conversation.
Yes, indeed.
Is there anything in that absolutely very rich introduction of you, something that I didn't mention, because there's a lot, of course, to say in a very short period of time, and you want our audience to know about you?
Well, I have a curious fact about myself that I was actually planning to become an architect and not a software developer. But on the day of the
Okay, quite
exam,
a switch.
but on the day of the exams, I was sent to a different location by mistake. And then I decided that I don't want to wait another year, and I will just start studying computer science and see how that goes. And this is how I ended up in the IT world, actually. And I always like looking back at that moment, because that really shaped my life. And in a way, what I'm doing now at the farm is a little bit going back to my childhood dream of being an architect and designer. So that's an effect that I like contemplating on.
Yes, now, okay, for me now all those things clicked right now when you were talking about designing and how important it is to you. So now I know the roots of it. But this is definitely a different type of career, and it's wonderful that now you can go back to that dream from early years. Wonderful. So you know already a little bit about Nana, and I think you're gonna get to know her, her way of thinking, and experiencing the world and building something from scratch during the interview, because we're gonna go through that lead, grow, and inspire uh, zones where we're gonna understand a little bit more what was driving Nana. Then we're gonna look at the system, what helped her to bounce forward, and then how she is doing, she's living at the moment, and what kind of impact she's making with all the experience, knowledge, and everything, and all the skills that she has. So, Nana, are you ready to dive in?
Yes, let's do
Yes,
that.
let's do that. Okay, wonderful. So I want to start with that question, and I know that we talked about it in the past, but I wanted to take a different take on that. I want you to take us to the moment that when did you know that, okay, I can't keep leading, I cannot keep working like this anymore?
Well, it was a long process and it was building up. And it started from me really just struggling to sleep and then losing concentration and focus. But I was still trying to really push through because this is how I grew up. These were my 20 years in IT, always push through. And at that time, I worked at a startup in the healthcare industry. And the purpose of that startup was very close to my heart because we were helping chronically ill patients. And that startup was my baby, basically. And I had at the time 12 roles in the startup
Yeah,
and
that's the
many
reality.
and many deadlines that I had to meet. And I was really pushing myself to meet those deadlines. I have met them, but then I really crashed and became sick. And I took some time off and even went to relax on a beach in Thailand for 2 weeks, thinking that, okay, some sun during the Dutch winter time can help. And I came back and I thought that, okay, I'm less sick, I'm refreshed. And then I went straight to work to a meeting where I have to represent these 12 roles that I have.
Mhm.
And the whole meeting, I really just struggled to not cry. And after that meeting, I knew that nothing really has improved. And I just cannot go on like that. And after that meeting, I told the HR representative that I really cannot do this and I'm sick and I cannot come back here. I need some help.
Mhm.
And that was actually the official beginning of my burnout. But it was almost 4 months since I did start having like symptoms that were building up on and on.
Yeah. So you were actually having, I would say, like a very typical symptoms of burnout, like really exhaustion, that actually even 2 weeks on Thailand couldn't fix, because that's
Yeah,
the whole difference between stress and burnout, that those short vacation won't fix it.
yeah,
And
exactly.
and you coming back thinking, oh well, I got this, right? And trying not to cry during the whole meeting, it must have been devastating.
It was devastating and also very frustrating because I just thought that, okay, I take some time off and everything will be okay.
Hmm.
But then you are facing the reality that it's not okay and there needs to happen some massive change, which I didn't know what is it or could it
Hmm.
even happen, that change. And it's a very strong feeling of being just completely lost.
Hmm. Absolutely. And because, as you said, like your strategy till that moment, till that point, was just like push it through, right? Like you have the skills, you have the energy. What? Who else, right? You can do that. You have you've been on the top for so long. So what's going on? And then the strategy of pushing it through is not working, and you don't know. Okay, so what's next, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It is also a bit cultural and also a bit how I was raised. never complain and
Yeah.
yeah, just push through, and everything is possible. So yeah,
Hmm.
suddenly how I was raised for 38 years was not working anymore.
Oh yeah, that's the. I think that that's the terrifying moment for many people who are going through that. That it's like, okay, the strategy that was working so well is not working anymore, and I don't know what's next because you are not at best at yourself at that moment. So it's also just really like instead of looking out there and being curious and asking, you're just shutting down most of the time. It's like, okay, well, just let me minimize my activities. Let's my world shrink so I can just handle whatever is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's absolutely I can, when you're saying that, I can absolutely feeling what must have been going on. But I wanted to ask you, what was going through your head back then?
Well, I was asking myself a lot, who am I now?
Mhm.
Because basically my identity was really strongly connected and attached to work and my success at work. And it's not by chance that I was accumulating these roles, because as the symptoms started appearing, then my answer to them was, oh, I just take more responsibilities. And that would fix this noise that you start hearing at the beginning of the burnout. But obviously, that's not the right solution or the answer to anything, because you need to
Mhm.
have maybe less responsibilities and not reach to a point of 12 roles. Um, and I was also doubting basically the career choices that I've made, and
Mhm.
thinking a lot about, do I really like being a software developer? And because the burnout happened in the Netherlands and I'm an expat, then I also felt a bit lost in the Dutch healthcare system. I didn't really know what will happen.
Yeah.
And another hard part was feeling a bit disconnected from people around me, because I felt like I'm not sure who I can trust.
Mm.
Because in this process, you have maybe your employee who is pushing you to go back to work. You have the doctor who is trying to help you with the burnout, but also works with the company. And you have your family that maybe don't understand what is a burnout, and how do you feel going through that. So you are constantly in this situation of, whom do I share with and how much do I share. um, and it's yeah, so it's very much lost and closed within my own bubble.
Yeah. So it is what is like again like a typical situation or a phase in burnout that you are alone, right? Because as you said, you don't know who to trust. You don't know how to operate in the system that it's there. So what kind of help you can get. So it's like, okay, so I'm isolating, isolating from the colleagues, from then maybe even later in a later stage, your friends and that loneliness because like there's a lot of question as you said about your identity, so who am I mean I've been holding 12 roles and I really wanted to our audience to let it sink. 12 roles holding for a very long time. I mean it's beyond human. I would say, and it's still you were ready to take another one, right? Because it's like that's that push it through strategy was embedded in you. So now it's like, okay, I don't know who to trust. I don't know who I am because those roles, you don't hold those roles anymore. And then what's next, right? So that must have been, I would say, like a dark moment for you to
Yeah,
be.
definitely. Yeah,
Mm.
definitely. And the first steps before I started recovering my energy a bit are also very difficult, because you still have the physical symptoms. So you still cannot really sleep. You have a lot of stress and anxiety attacks. So it really is not helpful to be in this lonely, closed bubble while also still having these physical
Yeah.
symptoms.
And isn't it like I'm just curious because that's also many times I hear from the clients or people I'm talking who went through burnout. It's like you questioning yourself, like, am I really sick? Because like, okay, I have some symptoms, but for the rest, it's what's going on, and you can walk, you can kind of function. So there's nothing really wrong with me, but I cannot function as I used to do.
Yeah, I doubted that a lot, obviously, and it took me some time to understand and analyze which activities really trigger these symptoms and
Hmm.
which activities really drain my energy so much that I cannot focus and cannot function. And one of the realizations was that it is computer work at that time. And computer work is everything I have been doing. And even
Hmm.
if you're not a software developer, you do need today to work a lot with a computer. And that realization was very confrontating because I was thinking, okay, but if I cannot really work with a computer anymore,
Yeah.
then what am I going to do?
Hmm.
And I did find it strange that okay, I can go to a yoga class and I can go on a walk, but I cannot do specific things. And it was a
Hmm.
long process of trying to understand why is it like that.
And when was the moment then you said, like, okay, something is off, I need help? And what were the steps you took back then? Like,
So what helped me a lot was actually a friend who went through a burnout herself, and I met her for coffee and I told her what's happening. And then she told me, "Dear, you're having a burnout. You need to stop working and stop trying, and you need to start doing something about it." And I think that that was really the shifting moment for me. And I will always be grateful for her for that help. And I also want to tell any of our listeners today that it's really, really important to, even though it's very hard to share and go talk to someone, but it can be the immediate help that you need. And staying in your lonely bubble is not going to help. You really
yeah,
need to talk to someone, whether it is a professional, whether it's a friend. And sometimes it is easier to talk to maybe a distant friend over close friends and maybe even
yeah,
partner. But really try finding someone who went through a burnout and reach out to them and talk to them. And in many cases today, friends who unfortunately are dealing with burnouts are reaching out, and then we have very open and empathic conversations. And I really think that someone who went through a burnout can have good insights and immediately say, okay, this is what's happening.
yeah. And I think that it's like, again, thanking to your friend that she was there, and she said, like, okay, that friend was there. It's like, okay, yes, you're going through something. I understand. And there was no space for judgment. So it was acknowledging and just being with you in where you were back then. Right.
Mm.
So it's like, okay, not questioning, not asking question and questioning. Are you sure? It's just like, okay, you have a burnout. You need to stop. And it's kind
Yes.
of validation from the person you trust might be that turning point, as you
Mm.
said.
And she also had a bit of a similar personality to me, also this pusher through. So that
Mm-hmm.
also helped. Because then what she was telling me about her story resonated more. And from that moment, I did start researching. Well, first of all, I was doing different quizzes online about burnout and what is
Mm-hmm.
the level of your stress. And I was trying to contact different coaches and different clinics, and also to understand through my workplace what are the possibilities
Yeah.
to start having some treatment. And then is when I started working weekly with a burnout coach for the first 2 months. But I also found out that my anxiety attacks were related to some childhood traumas that suddenly were flooded by the burnout and lack of sleep. So I also went through cognitive behavior therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was this whole process took quite some time. So I
Yeah.
really took almost a year for myself to go through different treatments and therapy and recovery.
Yeah. And I think that this is the very scary part for all high achievers who were on fire, right? They were on fire, 12 roles, here you go,
Mm.
pushing it through for years, to be able to stop and say, okay, well, now it's time for me. What's going on? To understand well from where those pushing it through strategies are coming. What is it there that actually brought you to that point of burning out? Because you were on fire first, so you need to be on fire in order to burn out. This is my theory. That majority of my clients are the ones who are high achiever, who push it through, who were absolutely brilliant at what they were doing, holding 12 roles. I'm just gonna be really, it's stuck with me. uh, and uh, and this is what that moment of, okay, I'm gonna take time for me now, not for the any other role, not for preparing myself for what's coming, because at that point you probably don't know what's coming. And then it's stopping. And this is the best strategy you can have in order to recover. And you took that time. What was going on within you in that sense? Like, because you were already knowing, okay, this is where it's coming from. This is how I'm reacting. This is my modus operandi. So, what is it? What was it with you that you knew that there is more ahead of you?
You mean for, treatment wise or after
No,
the
just
treatment? Mm.
knowing already, okay, that probably that chapter and the way you've been operating in the past,
Mm.
not it's not working. So probably you're not
Yeah.
gonna go back to that at that shape. But did you know that it was something more for you to wait, or at that point you were just like exploring some options?
So first of all, it started from a process of realizing that you cannot really know when you will be better. And I think that it's really important for people who are going through burnout to go through that process themselves, because at the beginning you really hope that, okay, maybe it will be 2 weeks and it will be better. Maybe it will be 8 sessions with the stress coach and it will be better. And it really depends, I think, also on how much burnt out you are, because for some people, maybe they can go back to their work with
Mm-hmm.
some small changes. Um, but first, it was really acknowledging and admitting to myself that I don't know how long this process will take.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very difficult because it's a big unknown, and you lost your identity and you don't know when you will get that identity or a different identity back. And once I started trying to reintegrate into my company, then I started realizing more and more that, okay, this is not going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when I was thinking about and analyzing what are the parts of my jobs so far I really liked. And I also was doing some small software developer projects just at home in order to validate to myself what is it that I like doing or
Mm-hmm.
not. And do I actually enjoy the software development itself, or was I
Mm-hmm.
enjoying something else around it? And I understood that what I was enjoying is more the problem solving part of it and being the person who connects the team and the different positions in the company. And I realized that I like much more defining a product and working on a product, but not the development itself.
Mm.
And I also knew that I still feel very close to healthcare or mental health care. So I really knew already then that I do want to do something in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And I follow the yoga teacher training, mostly for myself, but also with the idea that I want to have the tools of yoga to be able to help other people around me who are also going through stress and burnout. So these were the small projects that I was doing in order to understand what makes me feel good, what gives me energy,
Mm-hmm.
what gives me a sense of purpose. And I did start giving yin yoga classes to some friends and actually colleagues from the same company who were dealing with high stress levels. And I really saw that it helps.
Yeah.
And that returned me my feeling of myself and
Mm-hmm.
the feeling of, okay, what I actually like doing is helping people.
Mm-hmm.
I like helping people. I liked helping people at my company by problem solving. I liked helping the purpose of the company. And I was always very empathic and a good listener. So people always were coming to me with their problems. Um, and then I felt very good about myself because I knew that this quality is just in me and it's not related to any external company.
Yeah.
And I
It's not
don't
about
need,
those 12 roles, right?
no, it's not about that. Yeah. And that was a very good and important process for me to go through.
Mm-hmm. So it was like going from performance to impact, right? To just
Yeah.
moving. And when the whole dust from the past just really disappeared, there was a space for you to ask yourself questions, not what I can do, because you knew that you can do a lot, but what do you want to do? So, what
Yes.
is it that you really like? What makes you happy? What gives you the energy? And as you said, that was still within you, but it was just like in that strategy of pushing you through was just like kind of lost
Yeah.
in translation.
Yeah.
And now it has a space, it has a, it was a silent moment for you. So you could hear yourself and your desires, your values. And as you said, like the words that I'm hearing, it's a purpose, it's a vision, right? It's connecting people, it's making the space, if it's online or offline, for people to be better at whatever
Yes.
they do.
I think that it wasn't really lost in the dust of work. It was more masked.
Mm,
And I think that it happens to many people that what they really like doing is a bit clouded or masked by other roles or other positions.
mhm.
And they're still trying to follow their purpose, but because it is a bit masked, then it's not fully followed.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, what I'm trying to
Hmm.
say.
Absolutely. So it is also a mask. There's a lot of validation and external, maybe desires, external pressure instead of that internal ones, right? So
Yeah.
that was there, but it's masked by all the other noise
Hmm.
around us. And I think that we have the tendency, and I also speak for myself, like to just do a lot because that feels that, oh, I'm doing something, but now I live that mantra that less is more, and it's more about going from that performance to impact. So what kind of activity I like to do that has the impact that I'm really connected to. No, but in that time that you were going through your personal change, you also moved from the city to the farm, and I really wanted to ask you about that. How that play a role in whole recovery process and you finding your way.
So when I realized that I don't really want to go back anymore to corporate world, it was a good timing to think about what's next.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been my dream but more for my pension age, to open a bed and breakfast or something, maybe like
Uh-huh.
a retreat place. And then it was just good timing to do that. Also, because, well, as you know, Amsterdam is very expensive. So if you don't work in Amsterdam, living there maybe doesn't make sense. And I
Mm-hmm.
also found the city becoming more and more hectic and noisy for me and stressful. So I also wanted to have a change in the environment where I live, because part of my recovery process made me realize that I do have high sensitivity to surroundings and noises, and it would just be better for me to live somewhere that is a bit more peaceful and more in
Yeah.
nature.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a combination of following a dream that I thought I could achieve only when I'm 60, and also a bit of necessity from like noise stress perspective, and good timing.
Yeah.
And then I moved to this farm. It was a very hectic period to find the farm and do all the selling, moving, and so on. And then once I settled a bit after the move, then I had to deal with a new challenge, which is okay. Now I actually need to start building this farm and this business, and that was the first time in my life that I was my own boss,
Mm-hmm.
and that was quite stressful by itself, and I did feel stuck and overwhelmed. And I was not regretting the move because I really love the farm and I love living here. But I did think, oh, okay, maybe this idea of making it into really a business was not a good idea. And maybe I actually need to go back to work in IT and I just need to find a different position. And this is when you and I met. Because I contacted you initially and asked you, can you help me get back into IT?
Yeah.
And then we started working together.
Yes, and we both know that it didn't happen. So luckily for people who are at your farm and who are using also your platform, and I wanted to touch upon that because when we were talking, that kind of Temboni was like somewhere whispering there. But how did you turn that whisper into something real, something that it's life, that is already improving the life of coaches like myself? Can you walk us through that process? Because yeah, it didn't happen overnight.
No, it didn't happen overnight, and it was actually a whisper that started already during COVID times because everything
Mhm.
was moving online, and suddenly coaches were doing sessions online. And already then I thought that it would be nice to create some platform where coaches can, and maybe also yoga teachers can use that platform to really connect better with their students or clients. And when you and I were working together, but also before when I was working with a different coach, I really noticed how many tools and tasks a coach needs to juggle. And you need to send a Google Doc, you need to send a summary, then you need to create a Zoom link, and you need to set meetings. And already then I was thinking that, okay, it actually really all um, combines nicely into my idea of a platform. But my first step was to do like a mini hackathon and to try using ChatGPT in order to generate a summary for coaching sessions and
Mhm.
to see is the summary good? Does it make sense? And once I validated that idea, then I started building more features around it. And I was talking with many coaches in order to understand their workflow and slowly adding more and more features to the platform. And today, of course, there are more functionalities that I would love to add to Temboni, and I am adding constantly more functionalities. But I think that today Temboni became a platform that really facilitates most of the workflow that coaches or mentors or growth facilitators have to deal in their daily life.
Yes, I can confirm that indeed. And it really helps with scaling up the business. So that's for sure. Mm, and because in our audience there are women and people in general who wanted to build something and they really don't know where to start. What would you advise them?
So I would advise to try testing a small step of that idea and
Mm-hmm.
seeing does it work, but mostly trying to see and experiment and analyze. Do you really like doing that?
Mm-hmm.
And is it really something that gives you energy or not? And do you really feel this rush or sense of purpose when you do that step and work on it? And for me, with Tamboni, it was really that small hackathon of trying to use ChatGPT and generate a summary and then testing it out with some coaches and
Mm-hmm.
getting the responses. And then I knew, okay, I have something. And I was very excited about it. And the steps could be different, of course, depending on what is
Of
the
course.
idea that you
Mm-hmm.
want. But I think that, yeah, validating some part of the idea, speaking to people, and really being attentive to yourself in how does it make you feel. And
Mm-hmm.
if it makes you feel motivated and purposeful and makes you feel energized from it, then I think that the next steps will start coming naturally.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm. And when I look at Tamboni and at the Maker's Barn, those are not projects. They're not just a product. I look at it like they're portals, right? Portals to transformation uh, to different, better, most centered life, I would say. And maybe when you look at that from my lens, what transformation do you hope people will experience when they enter your world? Either it's through Tamboni or through the retreats on your farm.
um, I hope that they will be able to see that how we were raised to work and to live is not like the norm, is not the only way to live. And that working 9 hours in an office every day, that's not the only way to achieve things. And that you can be really productive and you can really build products like I've built Temboni while taking a break every hour and a half, and just going outside and doing something in the garden. Um, and every person is different and has different needs, has different sensitivity levels, and we cannot all be expected to fit into one structure and one norm. And it's just good and very liberating to find what is the structure that works for you.
Mm-hmm.
And when people come to the farm, I also want them to just relax and ground a bit and enjoy the nature and just sit outside in the sun and listen to the birds.
Mm-hmm.
And to also see and experience connections with other people in a more relaxed environment, because then the connections are really deeper and there are the conversations are deeper, more authentic, because everyone are less stressed and the
Mm-hmm.
masks then go off. So this is mostly what I want people to experience. And with Temboni, I just want to help coaches in their coaching business so that they have to do less admin tasks and that they can really focus on helping people. And from the client's perspective, I want them to have all the tools and all the information that is necessary in order to also have a better coaching process, and to just benefit from the work that they are doing, and to be able to go back and read a summary, or maybe do some assignment and reflect on that. And so it's all basically about better connecting to yourself and to others, and providing a set of different tools, whether it's online or offline, to work on your mental well-being.
Mm-hmm. So what I hear, it's what you do, it has a lot to do with connection and connecting with other people. So reducing the noise either is on the farm, and then really connect with each other, and slowing down and just allowing people to hear what it's within them, or for coaches or clients to also do not worry about the unnecessary stuff and focus on the relationship, and being close between a coach and the client, so that then coach can do what they do the best, connecting
Yes.
with people.
Yes,
So it is
exactly.
about the connection. It is about creating that relationship, right? And either with yourself or with others, and leaving a little bit that noise of external world behind. Uh, so I'm just like really thinking now that that might be also like a little bit of an experience, like a capsule experience for people who are interacting with you and with your tools, or with on the farm, to what you went through, right? So allowing to leave the old system behind and create a space to just like, okay, so what is there for me? What do I want to do? How I do I want to live? And maybe there is another way than 9 to 5,
Yeah.
but we just don't see it yet. And I think that's it's absolutely beautiful, because there is, and for people who are on the verge of burnout, or they are in the burnout experience and process, or recovering, you can look on both of us, because those are two phases of burnout, I could say, because we went through both through that experience, and we are now in a different place. But I think that between the burnout itself and where we both are right now, there is a space, and I think the space has to be taken care of. So you need to really look at yourself, slow down, and work it through what brought you here, and change your operating system, and changing your strategy through, not going from that pushing it through, but just moving from something different that works for you. And now, if because this is the platform that you can say about Temboni, about your farm. What do you want to say? How do you want to introduce it? Not introduce it, but yeah, introduce it to that audience. What you do, how you do, and who could benefit from what you are doing.
Well, first of all, coaches and mentors, and any professional who facilitates personal growth. They could really benefit from being on Temboni. And there are many, many features, from custom clients management system, to scheduling, to integrated video chat, hosting webinars, automatically created summaries using ChatGPT. And in the new version right now, there is actually ChatGPT integrated also for creating images. So it is really, really easy to also create and share helpful content with the clients.
I can confirm that.
The goal of Temboni for me was also to keep the costs that coaches pay for all these different tools very low. And in that, I hope to achieve that coaches can actually work with more clients and help more people. And so that's the audience for Temboni. And there is a website. You can see that in the links, I guess, under the podcast.
Yes.
And on that podcast, on that website, now there is also an example coach website that is very easy to build on Temboni. So I think that what I would like to is also to reach new coaches who are just starting and they didn't pay yet a lot of money to build their website, because that is just not necessary in today's world, and they can build a beautiful website with their own domain on Temboni. And I invite people to just go and check out how their website could look like if that's of interest for them. And at the farm, I'm currently hosting mostly yoga retreats, but I'm also thinking about starting personal retreat weeks where people who are maybe experiencing a burnout or they are on a road fork and they don't know what to do, they could come to the farm, and I would create together with other coaches a personalized program for them. And then they would have a combination of yoga, meditation, coaching sessions in while staying in a beautiful wooden cabin by themselves on the dates that are comfortable for them, uh, not within a big group, because maybe it is not so comfortable for people who are experiencing a burnout to also deal with other people around. So that's an idea that I will be exploring later this year.
Beautiful. Sounds very, very nice. And I think that very needed when we look at, unfortunately, not very flattering data. How many people are struggling with burnout, and they are experiencing some of the symptoms. And we can easily say that for leaders, it's around 60+% globally. For entrepreneurs, CEOs, it's 75, I think, plus 75 plus percentage is who are actually experiencing last year some of the symptoms of burnout, which is alarming. And I think that that is an invitation, that conversation, it's an invitation to stop, to pause, to go from managing systems to nurturing spaces, to from proving yourself to choosing yourself. And I think that it's absolutely amazing that this kind of spaces are created. And thank you, Nana, for doing that, because I think that's not enough of this kind of spaces. And what would you say to people who are listening to us and either they just want to build something from scratch or they just going through the rough time? What is kind of wisdom you would like to share with them, knowing you went through that whole journey?
Well, my biggest learning from this journey is that it's very difficult to do it yourself and ask for help. Just reach out for help. And I know that there are many coaches, including yourself, who also offer just a free discovery session that can be already very helpful. And it's just very, very important to talk with someone, because part of the symptoms of a burnout can also be just depression. And to get out of depression by yourself is, I find that for me, it would have been impossible.
Yeah.
So my biggest advice is to talk to someone and to get help. And there are sources of help that is possible to get. And that are really maybe small adjustments that could already really help. And I've been, so when you and I started working together, we created a new way of me to work on my tasks. Yeah. And I'm still using that, and I find that very helpful. And I have a weekly planning of 4 categories: general tasks, the yoga retreat tasks, Nana, which is like things that are fun for me, and Tamboni. And every Sunday evening, I do my planning, and I try to keep these 4 categories balanced. And every day, I decide what are the things that I can work on depending on that day energy. And of course, there are always scheduled tasks. Like now we are recording a podcast. So, of course, there is a set time for that. But most of the work I do is not set to specific times. And that is a really small shift versus a daily task list, but it's so helpful. And I'm still using that. And another tool that I'm going back to is a wheel of sport activity. So I draw a little wheel with the days of the week on it. And as the week progresses, I make sure that I do sport every day and I color that small pie of the wheel. And that is also, maybe to some people it sounds a bit silly, but for me it's a super simple and helpful tool. And so to get these different tools and advices is something that you can get from coaching or therapy, and they can really make a massive, massive difference.
Yes, not to be afraid to use the resources that are available, right? That it's and as you said, like asking for help, that's not a sign of weakness. It's on the contrary, sign of strength, asking for help, because if you don't know how to do it, just be resourceful and ask others who already know how to do that. Nana, thank you so much for today conversation, for sharing your wisdom, for sharing your story with us, and for everybody who is who've been intrigued, who wants to know if there are coaches listening, go below our video. You're going to have all the links to Temboni, to retreats, to contact with Nana. There is plenty of them. So please, again, this is the resources that we are sharing with you. Use them, including also like having that introduction activation session with me, which is for free of charge, I like to call it, but it's not for free because you need to invest your time and energy to show up and to say what is wrong, what is bothering you, so then we can really already give you some tools and you can start implementing them. Because as Nana said, sometimes those small might sound or look silly actions can have a huge impact on your life. So do not underestimate them. So again, thank you, Nana, for your time, for showing us what the actually true leadership is, because you led yourself through all those difficulties and now you are in the leadership roles in 2 businesses. And for everyone who is actually listening, if you feel like your old way of living no longer fits, and if you are ready to stop performing and start creating something true from within, let this be your invitation. Follow Nana, follow Tamboni, explore it, and know this: it only takes one brave decision to make waves that matter. Thank you so much, and see you next time.
Thank you, Anna.